A little bit about why we actually come to the MacWorld Expo. What is the big draw for us, and why do we think this is so much fun? And then go through maybe some hidden gems, the little things people have found around the show floor. And if we have time, we're going to open it up for audience questions. So let's see, John, you had some interesting stuff to talk about the keynote.
Right, everybody's talking about the keynote, and they were here for the keynote, the excitement of the keynote. So I just flew up from Los Angeles this morning early, and I get to fly back to Los Angeles tonight. So I did not get to see the keynote live, but I did watch Chris Pirillo's, or listen to Chris Pirillo's audio, which was really kind of cool. You open up a MacBook, kind of point it, be able to listen here, and then I watched or listened to the Mac Rumors website to be able to keep track of everything. To MacWorld since I came, the very first one was down in Brooks Hall, which was really a lot of fun. Were you there? A lot of fun then. And now Steve did not do the keynote that year, right? Did you hear the story about that? We can't. There's an interesting story that goes along with that. But yeah, it's the people in the walking the halls and passing one another. All the small vendors with all these really great little applications. I generally avoid the Apple booth because it's generally so crowded. That's something I can do. I can go to the Apple store in 3 days and go and say, hey, show me this, and I can get a one-on-one. Well, you can in that booth as well, but there's just so many people in it, I generally avoid the Apple booth. So it's like, not against them, it's just there are just so many people. But it's just this energy and these small developers and these little nuggets that you find where you go, oh wow, that's the coolest little thing. And it's a little tiny booth, it's
tiny count.
3 feet in diameter.
Tiny count.
All kinds of, it's great stuff. So that's, for me, that's what it's all about.
Especially if the developer's really excited.
It's the heartbeat of it, yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Katie?
Mainly I come to see these people. And all
see
of
us?
you, all of you people. I actually come all the way from Florida, and it's a pretty big trip to come all the way across the coast. And initially I wasn't going to come this year, and I am so glad that I did. I've just had a blast these last few days. But for me, it's all about getting back to the community, especially those of us who have been with Apple, including in the dark days when we thought things were kind of over. There was always the hardcore Mac fan, and there were always, people that you could relate to. This is the place where I go where I fit in.
So, to be in the majority for once, right? Not to be that weird guy with the Mac. To be in the majority. I'd like to see a few more women, and I think every time I come I do, so. Yay, women.
Yeah, go women.
Victor, what do you think? What do you come here for?
I could really use the exercise. So
you come to work.
Same reasons. I come to work, yeah. I mean, part of why I do this is to bring back to the people who can't be here. This is only my second year. I can bring back a chunk of stuff, and I can, through my voice and through pictures and through a little video, I can bring back a little slice of the show. And to me, that's joy. I mean, that's why I'm here. Of course, all the hangs are great and the parties, but at the bottom end of the line, I'm here to bring back some of the show to the people who listen. So,
great. Chuck?
I think it's simple. I don't think there are many industries or many endeavors of any kind where there's one place to be every year that is the place to be. And every year that is San Francisco, that is MacWorld Expo. There used to be shows on the East Coast, and they were great, but they still weren't this show. This is the place to be if you're a Mac user. This is the place to be if you're a Mac vendor. Apple being here, sure, it's great. But I'm with the rest of these guys. I come to see all of you. I come to see the vendors. I come to see friends every year. Sometimes friends I've not met until this year. But this is the place to be. I can't imagine January without this, whether Apple's here or not. It's just not that, Apple's not that important to this event and this industry and this community.
Actually, Chuck, I want to jump in the middle there. Chuck, one of the things you said about it being the place to be, I don't really understand why Apple wouldn't want to be here. I mean, Steve Jobs stole the show from CES. I mean, what are there, 85 million vendors at CES and 2,600 football fields, right? And every single person at CES last year was talking about the iPhone. So, what's that? 2 years ago, sorry. So, I mean, I don't understand how they could say that this show wasn't important to what they pulled off. I mean, the fact that it was timed on top of CES, really, I mean, they really blew CES out of the water. Everybody was talking about it.
Katie, we can speculate on why Apple does a lot of things. We wonder about that in a lot of cases, both pro and con.
Cut and paste.
I mean, that to me is sort of beyond it. They've made a decision. Is it impossible that it'll be reversed? No, but it's not very likely, at least for the foreseeable future. So now let's move on with it, but let's keep this as the place to be for the industry and for the community.
Doesn't matter to me that they're not here.
Yeah, to follow up on that, January without MacWorld is like December without Christmas. Anyway, the reason I come here, though, it's all about iPod cases. I need to see 10,000, and then I feel like my soul has been fulfilled. But actually, I would parrot everything I've heard here today. The small vendors, the people in Tiny Town, somebody was talking about Tiny Town earlier, that's the place to be. I go there every year, and I make so many new friends and contacts. It turns into a lot of content for Mac Sparky and the various podcasts I participate in. But the best part is it turns into friendships. And the people I meet, I was having a sandwich with a guy the other day, teacher from up north, and we became friends, So it's just a great place, a gathering of the tribe, and I sure hope it continues.
Yeah, well, I mean, all the reasons really. It is a working trip for me as well because, I come here to meet lots of people and to see some of the vendors. But one thing that I do, which I get a buzz out of as well, is, with the show I get a lot of followers, not just from the US, but all over the world and back in the UK. And in some way, I like to take lots of, like yesterday I queued up to get into the keynote and I was twittering away and was taking photos of the line, as we were going through. And it's amazing the feedback I get from people who say, well, we can't make it all that way to MacWorld, but really, they really get a buzz out of seeing all the tweets and things that I send across. So in some respects, I like to share the experience of coming to MacWorld with other people, people who follow me on Twitter and people who follow my blog as well. So I think it might sound a bit weird, but I quite get a buzz out of doing that.
I think we were even following what you ate last night, weren't we?
Yeah, Don McAllister. You can find all my tutorials, my screencasts over at screencastonline.com. And if you want to see what I ate last night, you can follow me on Twitter. And my Twitter name is Don McAllister.
I'm David Sparks. You can find me at macsparky.com. It points to all the various interactions I have. Also, you can find me on Twitter at macsparky.
I had dinner with Don last night. You would like to know what he had for dinner. I'm Chuck Joyner. Allison will pick on me, but Mac Voices at macvoices.com, Mac Notables at macnotables.com, the Mac Jury at macjury.com, and brand new Mac Voices TV at macvoices.tv.
Twitter?
Oh, Twitter, thank you. Twitter, Chuck Joyner, all one word.
Cool. My Twitter is Typical Mac User, and I have the Typical Mac User podcast at typicalmacuser.com, and a brand new show starting up called Typical Shutterbutt. I want to learn photography, and I'm going to learn it through all of you. We'll do it together. And as a matter of fact, if you tomorrow morning, Thursday, 5 a.m., some of us are going to get together and go out to the Muir Woods and do a photo walk. So if anybody's interested and has a car, we'll meet right out here and 5 a.m. because I don't drink.
I'm Katie Floyd. I'm with the MacCore Podcast. You can find me at themaccore.com or twitter.com/MacCore.
John Chambers from the 1 Minute Tip at oneminutetip.com. You can also pick up the video cast Photoshop Wednesday and Dreamweaver Thursdays. My Twitter account is Tipman.
Tipman.
I'm Adam Christensen. I do the MacCast, which you'll find at maccast.com, and my Twitter name is MacCast.
And I'm Allison Sheridan. My podcast name is No Silicast, hosted over at podfeed.com. And you can find me on Twitter at twitter.com/podfeed. Thank you all for coming.